Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Go Mango Tokucast. I'm your host, Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have
Cinder Blaze
and Makotoa.
Boys, welcome back. It's been a long hiatus, but we are now here to bring you episode Space 44 of Uchuu Sentai Kyuranger. I did not like this episode. And it was very evident in the watch along if you want to check that out. But it was, man, like, I came into it with a few expectations, and you know, they really built it up, especially over the week-long break that we had.
Yo, they totally met my expectations, except for like probably 20 seconds of the entire episode.
What do you mean?
I expected this episode to be just like garbage.
Okay,
like there's no way they could make the Cuervo twist good in any single way.
Right, no, but that's not the crux of the issue I have with this episode. It was they dangled other people getting to use the forms in front of your face, right? They dangled that, especially in the previews. But what we got was a thinly veiled recap episode for like half of it.
Okay,
and then
it did stop at around like 7 or 8 minutes, so it's
yeah,
not like
it was not half. No, that's the thing. I was like, your expectations when you were starting this episode was it better not be a recap episode, and it ended up not being that. Like it entirely, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't, to its credit. It's just that we didn't really move that much. It's like, I mean, sure, we got some Cuervo stuff. That was neat. But I feel like they knew that this episode was coming. They needed to make this reveal. But they couldn't fill the rest of the time out. So they just padded it. And
it did feel padded. It did feel padded.
Yeah, and if we're moving into the end, I feel like we should have more dense storytelling than this.
We can't, because they didn't set anything up for us to have a decent finale. Like,
I mean,
the villains are so empty. Like, even the Anton, or Professor Anton, he's probably one of the only villains that has potential to actually have like a more dense plot thread attached to him.
Really? I feel like
he's the only one with
his potential is shot.
He's the only one who had potential. Like, and
how
like,
so?
Because he had this whole thing with
the
with
episode.
Champ and,
the episode leading up to it, when we were like, we're gonna have Champ meet Anton because he's still alive, and then that episode comes and they're like not transported, but they're turned into like clown versions of themselves, and then like it turns out Anton is this clown himself instead of the serious Anton, and it just fell flat.
No, yeah, and it's entirely because I feel like it's because it feels like a completely different character. Even Champ treats him as a completely different character. They have made such a clear distinction between good guy Anton and bad guy Anton that they are completely separate characters. Yeah. So even though he bears the name, there's no resemblance to the one we know nor care about. It's just they used the name to make a twist happen, and it was of no consequence.
It did nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what it did was make it so that we found out that the real Anton was really dead. You know, it didn't like so.
I mean,
was it really the real Anton in the first place?
I don't even know.
I don't want to make a broad generalization, but I feel like that's something I do. But like with Lucky, we finished it. We thought it was done, and then it came back. We thought Anton was done. We thought we were done with that. Turns out it came back and was even worse than ever before. I can't wait to see what they decide to bring. Oh, Cuervo! They brought him back. And now it's worse than ever before. I can't wait to see what they decide they want to screw up next. Are they going to bring Orion back? Is he going to come back?
Are they gonna bring Stinger's brother back? Like, that'd be actually...
Oh my goodness.
Oh, at least he was intimidating.
Yeah, I know.
Yo, I forgot how good of a villain he was.
Yeah.
Like, compared to these guys.
I know. And, like, he wasn't even really that great because his motivations
that's why I said
were
compared
just...
to these guys.
Yeah. Like, a lot of his weight to me as a villain, and Michael, I don't know if you'll be able to resonate with this, but it's a lot of it comes from
Gaim.
Gaim. A lot of it comes from Gaim, and it was nice to see a familiar face, but character-wise, it didn't amount to as much as I'd like. Like, Kyuranger again sets up these nice things that you want to be paid off in a very, not necessarily like respectful, but like have the audience feel respected. Don't talk down to them.
Not in a half-assed way, basically.
Yeah, and now we're getting this. Now we're bringing back plots that we had already finished, finishing them up again and making them worse. Like it. I just Kyuranger these past few episodes consistently disappoints me at every turn, except for the one saving grace this episode, Hammy.
Hammy with her power up that. I mean,
no, it's not her power up.
Yeah, it could
I
be
assure you, it is not her power up.
Anybody's power up, but like the fact that they took that creative liberty with it was entertaining for sure.
It was entertaining.
Like, that was the only thing it was, though. Like, out of an entire episode of like shit, it was like, oh, there's something new, and that's slightly entertaining because it's funny. But like right after that, like no one really reacts to that, and I was just like, damn, like what? Do they just also, like not care about each other?
Also, I love how we keep making fun of Spada for being in the background, but now when he's front and center, he's still in the background to his power up. Like anything interesting that happened was because his power up was doing it.
Yeah, it wasn't him.
Yeah, and I feel so bad for this dude.
No, I'm pretty sure a lot of it was him.
I mean,
like,
it was
every time
acting.
the dude talked, he was like shaking his tits, you know?
Yeah.
that was the actor putting in the work, but no one wanting to put him center stage.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the writers and or director have against this guy, because he is never front and center in any meaningful capacity, unless it's a filler episode.
I think.
Yeah, like even in his focus episode, everyone else got like these great character moments. I mean, funny, just funny moments. That whole episode with the baseball thing was funny moments from all the characters. But
but it was filler.
Yeah.
Why are we relegating?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna give,
most
someone Ranger
Sentai
status,
characters get their development in filler, and that works for a lot of people. And I think for Spada it did work, but you only got one episode, you know. And I know there's like 9 Rangers and stuff, or quote.
No, there are 12.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
we
Rangers. Clearly
set up once again with the introduction of second introduction of Pega.
Yeah.
That there are 12.
Funny enough, I mean, something to point out. Interesting that they pretty much relegated all of the non-human face characters to the background this episode. Like, Sho wasn't here. Also, Raptor was on the ship, and then we had the 3 others who were in suits. Like, just go take care of the civilians. So this whole episode was just the human actors, right?
It's not because they were the human actors. It's the only people who had power-ups just so they can do that one scene.
What are you talking? No, hold on. No. Spada, that was never his power-up.
That was never his
Hammy
power-up.
never had that power-up.
Hammy, that was never her power-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't really give those power-ups to the other.
Yeah, you can. You can give it to Okami Blue, and he could do that Howling Moon thing.
Oh, that was cool.
Give it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Him and Gold.
You can give it to Balance, and he could do that Solar Mode thing.
Oh my gosh, that was wasted.
I don't know, because like I understand. Actually, it does sort of make more sense to give it to Hammy because you need someone who isn't gonna like lean in on one of those because you gotta oh, that's what they're doing.
What?
Oh, the show is almost over. They're trying to move stock, so they're putting all the power-ups on display. Oh, it looks like the sun and moon thing ain't moving any units anymore. Let's bring it back in.
I mean, were they ever moving anything before?
I don't know, but like, it would have been cool to see like them introducing at least more of them.
Yeah.
Into the fray, so that you could give that to Okami Blue, because he's like, I feel like he's due for a power up.
He's due for like an episode to himself.
Yeah, he's
like his only like focus episodes were like the first episode and that one where he cross dresses.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, that's right.
That was actually fantastic, but this one episode, and we did not need like 30 episodes devoted to the Red Ranger. Like this one in particular, other Red Rangers deserved it. This one, he did the same thing in every single one.
That's true.
And then one time he actually did have like a change of mentality. Kota threw a party and he's like, no, go back to Saint Lucky. And he's like, yo, Lucky. And then
well, I feel like his demeanor does change with every different form he has, because like you saw it in the Sun and Moon form. You also saw it in his Orion form, because when he does that Orion form, he's not as like boisterous and loud. He's more reserved and like, not necessarily calculated, but you get a sense that he's pulling back.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens when you have a kid.
When the protagonist gets a power up, even in like even in Kamen Rider, like I just remember Ghost, when Ghost got his massive power up, his like fighting style changed and he just became this kind of kung fu master who would block people with just one hand. And then you also had
okay, no,
that's completely different, though.
Or the way
what
the way
no so like
no, the only time that mattered was in the finale, but let's go back to what Corey was
saying. Did it matter in the finale? He just meshed all three of them together and then
obviously
like
changed
slam into the ground.
Flying monkey whale.
Oh god, that was so gross.
That
but
was a funny way to end the series.
We got a gross looking repaint of the Death Worm in this episode that nobody wanted.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Like I gave them way more credit than they deserved. I thought that they'd nerf them in like maybe an episode, but they nerfed it immediately. The only thing they had to do to fight and win was, hey, pep talk. Oh, sweet, pep talk.
I mean, that's how every Sentai beats the final
boss. But it
boss.
was such a lame pep talk, especially for a quote unquote character that just reappeared because the suit was probably damaged from the last use. Like it really didn't amount to much. And it's also but like much to its detriment, part of this episode was a recap. And I feel like that time would have been better suited, getting Pega, not necessarily filling him in, but getting him acclimated to the team.
Yeah.
Not just expositing to him and therefore the audience, but like having him maybe bond with Spada. And maybe have this a Spada focus episode. Anyone ever think of that?
No, it's way too late to even have a focus episode like this. I mean, I feel like at this point of a series, the villains have to be posing a decent enough threat. And then, like, we can have the character development moments while the plot is happening, but we can't just, like, take a break right here and just, smell the roses while,
I mean, it's not. If we want to introduce this as his power-up, not necessarily, like, going forward, but, like, him at least using it, or at least trying to rein it in, as it were, then I feel like we needed some of that learning curve of him obtaining the power, like, sort of earning it. It just sort of happened.
Yeah, like, and, like, I don't want to rack on, like, Kyuranger too much, because, like, looking back on it, a lot of this, like, the stuff that's like really biting its ass right now is like the lack of like plot threads
that
you know,
didn't
to
set
actually
up,
like
yeah.
deal with, you know. But they
Yeah.
actually had a lot of stuff happening and everything up until the finale, and then they just kind of ran out of steam. Like the second like Don Armagi
Yeah.
just showed up, they killed off like all the villains, and like so he would just have to bring them back, and they weren't really imposing. They weren't really imposing in the first place, but we had like really good, you know, episode to episode stuff happening.
Yeah.
That we didn't really notice that like the actual evil organization sucked ass.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, because like the moment he was introduced, it was pretty terrifying. Like stakes, there were stakes.
There were
You
stakes in
sort
like
of felt
every
it.
episode until
Yeah.
like
No. But then once that died down, once you introduced the plot thread of there are multiples, that's where it kind of
Yeah.
started to fall off, you know, because then like it felt like this was only this was their only way to salvage his destruction at the end. Like there was, maybe this was planned from the beginning, but it's just not clever. And I feel like I'm really being talked down to with this show.
well, it is a kids show, so you do have to like.
I know, no, I know, but Build is a kid's show, and it doesn't talk down to its audience.
It's a Sentai
So
show.
what?
It's for like even smaller kids that dance along.
Whatever.
At the end.
I want better stuff out of the things that I watch. Despite it being kids content, it can still be good. Like Shinkenger was incredible. Gokaiger was incredible. Why do we have to run into these it's a kids show roadblocks? You can have those goofy moments. It's just
I do also kind of lean towards Alex, where I give Sentai a bit more of a break, because it does have a ton of characters, and it also has its tropes that it needs to like follow, and so that kind of gets in the
they
way.
made that decision.
Yeah,
they
but,
made
like,
that
it's
decision.
they're not going to be able to change it at this point. It doesn't like.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't excuse the fact that they made that decision and they are now paying for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna help like Sentai grow because it's just not
going
good
to
enough
help them grow their roster.
Yeah, but
Okay.
do we have
keep
anything
going.
like meaningful to add? I was just gonna like compare this to, like Zoojer like slightly about like how Genis was also kind of like the downfall of that show, even though we enjoy that
Yeah.
series so much. Just like he was so bad that we didn't really care about what happened at the finale.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like in terms of the main character to latch on to with Yamato, at least he got.
What do you mean,
we
Yamato? It was that entire damn team.
No, yeah, like we had an entire cast to fall in love with, but we've sort of spread out our love and appreciation to these auxiliary characters that coming together, it doesn't really form a cohesive, like enjoyable unit to me.
Yeah, 'cause
I don't know.
They don't even interact with each other all the time.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we're running very long, so I'm gonna cut us off right here. We hated this episode. Tell us what you thought about it in the comments down below. Like this episode and hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more from us each week. Guys, thank you for listening and supporting us throughout, the whole last week drought debacle. But hey, we're
month.
back. Thank you. Thank you for sticking with us, and I hope you'll be here with us till the end of Kyuranger. I didn't know where that sentence was going. Anyways, guys, keep it juicy.
Yeah, see ya.
See you next time.